The excuses of Deontay Wilder. It's getting a little bit. It's not even getting a little bit. It is becoming a joke. Deontay Wilder is slowly losing credibility, not just as a man, but as a fighter. You know, when Muhammad Ali lost to Joe Frazier, he said a lot of things. You know, he said the reasons he made a lot of excuses, but that wasn't to be little Joe. That was to put in his head that, you know what, the only reason this guy beat me was because I was off, or my hand was injured, or there was some kind of problem. But Ali wasn't making crazy excuses. He would make a few, and they would all just to get into Joe's head and to make Joe fight a certain fight when they fight again. Do you understand? Now, when Mike Tyson lost to Evander Holyfield for the second time, particularly, Mike was known for not making excuses when he loses. When he lost to Buster Douglas, he was very respectful. Even when journalists and promoters were trying to push Mike to say, you know what, was Buster Douglas's count too long? Was you not in shape? Was you? Do you know what I'm saying? Mike said, "Nah, he beat me. You can't make excuses." And then you had the same thing where in the rematch in the first fight for Holyfield, he was very respectful. He said Holyfield was a great counter puncher. I can't make excuses. He was a better fighter. Do you know what I'm saying? But in the rematch of Holyfield, he made a lot of excuses. He said the headbutts were the reason. Do you understand? So fighters naturally like to make excuses. You know what I'm saying? Especially at world level, we've seen it. But this is gone a bit too much now, because at least their excuses were somewhat plausible. Do you know what I'm saying? We're gonna break down each excuse that Deontay Wilder has made. So first, Mark Breeden, he was conspiring with the Fury camp when he threw the towel in, because guys in the crowd were saying, do it. And a guy in the crowd who was actually in the camp with Fury was pressuring Mark to throw the towel, which is why he threw the towel in. Excuse number 2. Deontay Wilder wore 400 pound suit, 40-pound suit, on his way to the ring, which is why his legs were gone. So his legs were wobbly before he even got in the ring, which is what he alluded to in his post-fight interview. Excuse number 3, Glovegate. Tyson Fury, gloves weren't strong. He didn't have enough wrapping in it. And when he was punching, he was flicking it, and he was punching from a different side of the glove, which was more near to his fist. Excuse number 3. Somebody put something in Deontay Wilder's water. Deontay Wilder felt weird as soon as he got in the ring. He was saying that people put something in his water, which is one of the reasons why he failed to feel good, because there was some kind of, someone plotted something and put something in his water. Number 5. Tyson Fury put loaded objects in his glove now. Deontay Wilder's brother, who is just a complete fool. This is the same man that got knocked out by a journeyman, but anyway, and took drugs. This fool said, my brother's had an autopsy. I don't think he knows what autopsy is, because his brother has to be dead to have that. So, but anyway, so his brother had an autopsy, and it showed that on his skull, the only way you could get those bruises was with a loaded object, alluding to the fact that Tyson Fury had something in his gloves. Those are 5 major excuses that have actually transcended around the media world. Do you understand? And to be fair, Deontay Wilder hasn't actually specifically mentioned any of those excuses outright in an interview or said it. But his fan base have, his family have, and he hasn't debunked it. He hasn't come out and said, nah, he alluded to the costume being the issue when he had his post-fight interview about his legs. And he hasn't really declined, anything his brother has said. He hasn't declined anything his fanboys said on YouTube. So, in my eyes, Deontay Wilder is agreeing with these excuses. which tells me that is he gonna make adjustments in the rematch or in the third fight, the trilogy? I mean, because if he believes that if I just get fresh water, if I check Fury's gloves properly, and if I make sure Mark Bringer's not on the team, I will be able to have a fair fight. What are you talking about? The guy is one of the most deluded guys in boxing if he thinks that. You know, Fury's come out and said this has gone too far now. The only thing I had in my fist was my hands. That's what broke up and bashed up Deontay Wilder's head. You know, it's becoming a joke. And what Wilder has to really think about is these are not going to help him in the trilogy. I know Big George Foreman's reached out to him and tried to help him in terms of things that he can do better in the fight, but technically there's not much he's going to be able to improve on. The only thing he can improve on is what style he comes in. You see, don't be surprised if Deontay Wilder tries to fight on the back foot. If he's lost confidence in his power and his delivery and his power, he will try and win on points and get a spook decision, 100%. Now the question is, with Tyson Fury coming forward, will he be able to last the distance? That's the question. Especially without landing, because Deontay Wilder is not really a distance fighter, is he? Never looked good when he goes to distance. The only time he looked good when he went to distance was against Stavern the first time, and he was fighting on the back foot, and he hurt Stavern a couple of times, but Stavern was walking forward and Wilder was peppering the jab. But against a tall guy who's got a longer jab than you, I can't see Deontay Wilder comfortably going the distance with Fury. Nah, not on the back foot anyway, 100%. And if he fights on the front foot, someone's getting knocked out. Because we've seen that he can, and we've seen that he hasn't showed that he can stop Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury got back up. So the question is what style is Deontay Wilder going to implicate for himself to win that fight? If he's just going to go out and try and land a big bomb and come in heavy, then he's going to lose again. But if he believes these excuses, he's definitely going to lose again. That's the more worrying part. And I think this is another issue of Americans, and they like to make excuses. But the fight has been targeted for December the 19th, which is quite a long way away. And I said to a lot of guys that the longer this fight gets pushed back, the better it is for Deontay. Because he can really mentally just relax, focus, and really think about what he's going to do for the rematch. And let his body physically recover for the longest period it can. And for Tyson Fury, especially being in lockdown, that this could be worse for Tyson Fury because he's going to struggle, I believe, to keep his weight at the best possible, without it fluctuating and getting too heavy. Do you know what I'm saying? Being at home with your family, people tend to eat a lot because they're busy and they're with their family. But we've seen Tyson been working out and everything, which might not be a problem. But I'm just saying, the longer this fight goes, I just feel like it benefits Deontay. But at the end of the day, Fury is definitely going to be the favourite and a heavy favourite. But what do you think about Deontay Wilder's excuses? It's getting too much now. It's getting too much. He needs to come out and just give Fury the credit, or come out and say, you know what I'm saying? He hasn't even done an interview yet. So we want to see what's what.